statement on just sort of getting to Atlanta and the transition into bowl week and how preparations are going so far.
Yeah, thank you. Had an opportunity, I think, right after our last game to get a couple light practices, kind of keep guys in the swing of things in that championship week where we thought we'd have a chance to maybe be playing in a top-level bowl. The guys responded great. A year ago, we went to a bowl scenario. I think people questioned the way we're going to play. We practiced well. We've had great practices again this year. So a lot of respect for our leadership, our top guys. We've had good practices. Got in here Sunday. Yesterday was a late start. We're kind of now into Tuesday of game week and had some great prep and looking forward to a great challenge on Saturday.
All right, CJ, next for you. Just talk about kind of the event last night and getting settled into bowl week. What were your thoughts on the event at the Hall of Fame last night?
It's been a blessing to be down here playing for a national championship. So it's been a goal of mine since I got to school. And last night was fun. Kind of just let things loose and just really enjoyed the time with your brothers. And then playing against them was fun. It was just it was competitive at the same time. It was hard on. It wasn't very competitive like you would think. So it was just having fun and it was a good time. So.
All right, Emeka, how about you? You guys dropped the first one, but you came back strong in the second event, and we're tied at 1-1.
Yeah, last night was definitely fun. Just happy to be down here, spending time with my brothers, and getting the team camaraderie going, and kind of just not forgetting what an accomplishment it is to be here. But obviously we're very focused and tuned in on this game, so we're locked in for a good practice today and putting it all on the field on Saturday.
All right, thanks, gentlemen. Okay, we'll go ahead and open it up for questions now. Please raise your hand. We'll get a microphone to you. Remember to give your name and your affiliation and to whom you're asking the question. We'll start right over here on the second row.
Griffin Stroman, Living Warriors. Coach Wilson, I'm just wondering how much different has your role in the game plan and things like that been, or has it been different at all since obviously taking on the new job here in the last month?
Coach was pretty. With the calendar, after our last game, it was a dead recruiting week until Friday. So as coaches, we were in, kind of looking at potentially ahead, looking at how we just played and kind of reviewing the year. Had a couple light workouts with our guys just to kind of keep them in tune because we felt we could be playing in this game. And we knew that team was practicing that week, so we didn't want to go out after the season, have hard prep, but just keep our guys sharp and on edge. And then we spent through the recruiting cycle. In my situation, I was gone a little bit, but we have probably spent more time game planning as we wrapped up the recruiting cycle and everything going on and probably are farther ahead. We've been through our game plan several times. Now we're in game week. I think this is about the third time that we're going through a lot of things, a lot of polishing. So I think Coach Day was, and Coach Mick with the workouts, but Coach Day was adamant about our preparation, being ahead, and not down here stressing and last minute going through things. We're not, by any means, this is not bowl week. This is playoff week. But we're very much, I think, ahead as players would tell you with the game plan, what's going on, playing a challenging team with a lot of great athletes and a lot of stress they bring in their structure. But we've worked really hard to be ahead and give our kids a chance to go out and be aggressive and play well Saturday night.
All right, we'll take our next question from all the way back to the left side.
Dom Taberi with WBNS TV in Columbus. CJ and Emeka and Kevin, indoor game, weather's not going to be a factor. How much would you think we'll see the ball in the air? Can you give us an idea? And do you see an opportunity there?
It's definitely a good feeling, not knowing that you don't have to deal with weather coming from Columbus or the Big Ten, where you're playing the Midwest, the majority of the time on the East Coast, where weather is always a factor. So whatever it takes to win, I feel like is what we're gonna do. So if that's throwing the ball, if that's running it, if that's having a punt, whatever the case may be, we just want to win the game. So really just focus on that, just execution in those type of scenarios. And yeah, I think that definitely is a good thing to be playing in a really nice stadium. I think the atmosphere would be cool, so just really excited to play in that.
All right, staying on the left side here in the third row.
Jordan Hill with Dogs 247. Question for Kevin. A lot of talk about Georgia's tight ends, Brock Bowers and Darnell Washington. How unique is that challenge of trying to stop two tight ends of that caliber, and what stands out to you about those two guys?
You can hit Coach Knowles, and I just we're all kind of spread offenses. The game has evolved. I think, though, the last 5, 8, 10 years in college ball, if you don't have good tight end play, your quarterback's either going to have to throw it a whole lot or run a whole lot. And I think the tight end position just takes a lot of stress. And when you have two of them, you can balance up either side of the formation. You can add width to one side of the formation when you put them in tandem, let alone guys like they have, which we do too, in the way Cade and Mitch and G has played. Those are, I think, the quarterback is what makes it go. You can do what the line can block. The receivers make, then the running backs make the dynamic plays. But I always felt in our world the tight end position connects the offense together. And I think both groups will be huge Saturday night as both teams attack each other.
All right, staying on the left side one more time in the back.
Yeah, Clay Hall, ABC 6, Fox 28. CJ, keep reading about how you were recruited by Georgia and Coach Smart had an in-home visit, et cetera. How did you regard them? How close was it? Were you high on the Bulldogs?
Yeah, I had a great recruitment with Georgia. I went on an official visit, and then I did have an in-home visit with him and Coach McGee. I think it was one other coach too. But yeah, they were very respectful. I enjoyed my time up there, met some of the players, and I think some of them still play for them now. I have respect for them. And I think they have respect for me. I got to see him up at the Heisman with Stetson, so I got to talk to Coach Smart a little bit. He's a good dude, definitely a great coach. So nothing but respect from both sides, I feel. And it's kind of come around full 360 to be playing them now. So I'm excited to do that. And it was close, but I'm glad where I went, and I'll ride with that till I die. So, yeah, they were like second in my recruitment, but I feel I made the right decision to come in Ohio State.
All right, right side is stepping up. We'll go right here in the front row.
Yeah, Brooks Austin with Dogs Daily. CJ, I'm just curious, a coordinator change midway through the season. How have you and Coach Wilson gone about, establishing being on the same page, and where would you rank kind of your comfortability, just a month in?
There's no change. Coach Wilson has been doing the same thing he's been doing since I've been at school. They always find a clean game plan for us, so that's for the outside world that think that's confusing. Or Coach Wilson's been there every time I ask for him or need him or need something. Coach Wilson's there, so it's no confusion. That's probably for you guys. We've been doing the same thing that we've been doing. So, but yeah, he does a great job. I think he'll do a great job at Tulsa, and I told him that. He has that aura of a head coach, so I'm excited for him to go up there and do his thing.
All right, we're going to go back over to the left in the third row.
Yeah, Jed May with UGAsports.com. CJ, following up on your recruitment by Georgia, what do you remember about kind of the vision that Coach Smart and all them pitched to you for the Georgia offense when they were recruiting you? And when you see their offense now, how different is it maybe than the one you kind of envisioned yourself playing in at one point?
It was so long ago. Well, not that long ago. It was like 3-4 years ago. Kind of seems long, but they were more so on the side of passing it a little more, because I think I am dynamic when it comes to throwing the ball down the field, staying in the pocket, working things like that. And of course, they knew they were getting Darnell, who was in my class, and then they've always had a great defense with Keeley and dudes they had back then. So they were really excited to have an offensive attack as well as a really good defense. So that was kind of the pitch. And then Coach Cooley, who was a quarterback coach at the time, loved how kind of my footwork was and how I could still extend plays and make plays on the run and do things like that. So that was kind of the pitch.
All right, next we'll go over here, fourth row on the right.
Coach Wilson, Anthony Dasher, UGAsports.com. Just wondering how much you knew of Jalen Carter before you started turning the film on to prepare for this game, and now that you have, what are your impressions?
Well, one of the impressions are they have a lot of tremendous players. Always have. I think it just starts with their coaches, the way they recruit, and the emphasis of defense and the passion. A lot of times when you put on tape, you see great players. A lot of time when you put on tape, you see scheme and structure. But sometimes when you put on the great teams, you feel the tape, and you feel those guys on tape, and you feel him on tape. You feel the plays he makes and the way he can impact and influence games. So we have our hands full, not just with him, everyone. It's not like you can turn full focus there because there's other dynamic guys at one-on-one. So it's going to be a fist fight every play. We got our hands full. Just a lot of respect for their structure, the culture of the way they play, and most importantly, you feel their defense. And we're going to have to do our best to make sure that there's a chance that as we're playing, they feel us as we play this game, because it's not going to be a reactionary game. It's going to be an attack game both ways, two guys going at each other. A lot of respect for those guys.
Next, far left over here.
Doug Robertson, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. This is for Anyville. Georgia's pass defense gave up a lot of yards to LSU in the SEC title game. Y'all obviously have a lot of talent on offense. Do you feel you could take similar advantage?
Emeka, let's start with you this time.
I'm very confident in the talent we do have on offense, and I feel like when it comes to us playing any team in the nation, I feel confident with our guys and our ability to sling the rock. So, like CJ said, we're going to do all it takes to win, whether that's running or passing, but we're definitely aware of the talent that we have, and we're going to look to exploit it and make big plays whenever we can.
CJ?
We got to play Buckeye football, though. LSU do what LSU did. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure they're not just going to let us drop back and just do what we want to do. So, I'm pretty sure that they've been watching film on us, make sure that that's something that they stop. And they probably think, I don't know what they think, but I know that that's probably what the outside world thinks, is that since LSU got to throw the ball against them really well, that we'll just go out there and do it. I'm pretty sure that they'll have a plan for that, and we'll have to be on our game just as better as they are. So that was good for LSU, but we got to go play Buckeye football and make sure it happens on Saturday for us.
All right. Coach?
I just think, you look at those stats, but the result of the game was, they won the game by 20. So that wasn't necessarily the formula to win the game. And you're going to have to make plays in both phases, and third down conversions and short yardage conversions, score zone conversions. You look at the history of championship football games, there's not a lot of 9-7, 13-10 ball games. And we got two great defenses going at each other, but there's playmakers on offense, and when you look in the big-time plays, you got to score points. So we got to find a way not to have just yards passing or running. We got to find a way to get the ball in the end zone if we want a chance to win this game.
All right, next we'll go halfway back here on the right on the aisle.
Dan Matthews, 6A, the Fan here in Atlanta. Do you guys feel like you've played a complete game this year, or as close to as possible? And if not, what do you think has kept you from that?
All right, start with Coach this time, please.
Yeah, we've played well. Complete game. I think you're always chasing perfection, which you never get. Only one perfect thing's been on this world, so you're chasing that. You're chasing it hard, and the game's not a game of perfect. And playing your best is your ability to just overcome and keep swinging and swinging and swinging. So we've gotten there, but I think our best is in front of us, and the way we've prepped, we're going to have a tremendous challenge. There's going to be some challenging, ugly plays Saturday night, but to get the outcome, we're going to go at it. And to me, that'll be, have we played our best game, is how hard down the stretch in the big games we can play 4 quarters as hard as we can. Not trying to be perfect, because it's not going to be, and it doesn't have to be, but it has to be all we got. And that'll be, again, the challenge Saturday night, to say, okay, we've played our best. I think we have a quote in our room, the old Theodore Roosevelt, where the critic goes to the one in the arena. I think Saturday night we can look at the arena when it's over and look at these men and say, hey, was that our best, and is that what it takes to win this game?
All right, next we'll go on the left side on the aisle.
Yeah, Jacob Benj with the Lantern. Just following up on that for Emeka and perhaps CJ, to hear your offense has to play its best football against Georgia, and for Emeka, when you think about yourself and Marvin, your first seasons as starters all the way through, what do you think about when you reflect just playing with Marvin, yourself in the lineup with CJ throwing you the ball? Just when you reflect on the season now that you're here, what do you think of first, and what do you and Marvin have left to show?
I think it's all conclusive. We have to play a complete game like you guys were talking about. In terms of, not just pass catching, but run blocking, making sure there's little to no mistakes, getting our play calling, and, just being great leaders. We always felt like Zone 6 has been, kind of one of the position groups on the team who has stepped up in big scenarios and made big plays. Not saying that anyone else can't do it, but, sometimes it's, we like to be the guys in those scenarios. So just making sure we're able to make those plays, and because we're all confident in the line being able to hold their blocks, and the running backs doing their job, and CJ being able to be a field general out there. So and so what me and Marvin think, we're just continue to stay locked in, and making sure we have everything down pat, and we're going to give it our all on Saturday.
All right, next right here in the third row on the right.
Charles Odom with AP. For Coach Wilson, Georgia's gone with a committee approach at running back this season, and you have had to utilize your depth as well. How much of that has been by design? How much by necessity due to injury? And can you talk about Mayan Williams and how I understand he's had to deal with a leg injury, how he is for this game.
Yeah, it's most of it's been originally by design, but then with the injuries that we've had a couple times, those guys, they've all practiced well. Mayan had a really good go yesterday, the most work he's had to date. And as we build through this week, I think we'll see those guys playing and playing well. But I think you need more than one back. You need two, sometimes three to play through the season. You need it to play through the games at receiver. Emeka and Marvin have gotten a lot of targets, a lot of notoriety, but they'll tell you we need receiver number 5 and 6 in every game stepping up playing championship football. So, there's not a starting 11 on our football team. We got about 17, 18, 19 guys really contributing at all those key spots. So the running back is a little bit like Georgia's, like a lot of good teams are playing 2 or 3. This year we've had to evolve where some guys have been in and out due to some of the minor injuries we've had. But going into this game, we're at full force, and those guys are going to need to take care of the ball and run as hard as they can. They're going to have to make some tough and some ugly yards in this game to keep us on schedule.
All right, we've got time for a few more in this session with this group. Next question. Okay, let's go right here on the right.
Question, Joey Coffin from the Columbus Dispatch. Kevin, for you personally, what's it been like to manage all the responsibilities you have, coordinating the offense, the game plan for this game, your new job last couple of weeks? Just is that tough to juggle? Other coaches I know, like Jeff Hafley, did it in 19, but just what's it been like from your perspective?
Good. And I don't want to talk much about it because really the recruiting days that we had when the guys were recruiting, I was kind of dealing with the new opportunity. When we weren't recruiting, it was back here. I've been here since last Thursday. So now, pushing about 12 days directly with the team all the time. And really what's different from years ago is when there's a coaching change, you have to recruit your team so that everybody doesn't jump in the portal. So that was the issue, is like just trying to keep the guys on board. But I'm very compartmentalized. These guys know this. So when I'm on practice, it's all practice and it's full throttle. We're in the meetings, it's all meetings. So, there's probably 70% of the time has been on this bowl game. And the extra time's been late at night, like last night about 9:30. We started yesterday morning, about 7, got rolling. About 9:30 last night, I actually got to a couple things revolving about next year's job. Everything is with these guys. Coach Day's comment was, I am in this position because what these guys have done and the obligation. I said back in preseason, one of our goals was to get here and have a chance to be in this game and to be a part of this, and we won't have success in this game. So it's not been hard. It's been a lot of energy. And the total focus when it's been time to work is on these guys and giving us a chance to play well against a tremendous Georgia defense, and we're ready to roll.
All right, staying on the right side in the second row right here.
Andy Baxter from Letterman Row. Emeka, just wondering from last year's experience, what did you take away from the Rose Bowl and now playing a bigger role in this offense? How do you take away from that experience and apply that now?
It was a little different because, there wasn't as much on the line, I feel. I felt like it was a good game for me to get my feet wet and understand what it's like to play on this scale. But this year is definitely different. I'm feeling more locked in, feeling more focused. And, I'm realizing as the days go on that it's going to take everything that we take. As a team, it's going to be, a hard-fought game till the fourth quarter. I'm not, I don't know what the score is going to be. I can't predict that. But I know that's going to take all 3 phases for us to be able to execute the way that we need to. So that was kind of something that carried on in the Rose Bowl. We were down at half, had to come out at halftime and have a big second half where we were clicking on all cylinders. And there's going to be a moment in the Saturday's game where we're going to face adversity, and it's going to come down to how we handle that.
All right, over here to the left in the fourth row, please.
Connor Riley, Dog Nation. This is a question for CJ. Emeka and Marvin both had over 1,000 yards receiving this year. What's made them so successful and helped you, show that you guys are one of the best passing offenses in the country this year?
I definitely think their work ethic. Whenever I come into the facility, either they're there or they're coming, and they're coming with me, or they're there by themselves on the jugs, and that kind of just shows you what type of work they put in. It's been like that since their freshman year, and I think that's kind of what's been paying off, is just the work that they put in. And then really just how smart they are. Like, they pick them on the offense really well. When they first got in here, it wasn't like a slouch from Chris and Garrett. Emeka and Julian and Marvin were the twos that year, and they were just as good, or, better at times. I'm not saying they're better than Garrett and Chris, but, they were playing really good football to be freshmen. And I definitely think that when you come in with that type of attitude of like, I'm not just going to be here and try to learn, I'm going to be here and dominate, that's when you learn and that's when you become a great football player. So it hasn't been overnight. They've been good since their freshman year. They just didn't have an opportunity to really touch the field last season. So I definitely, the work that they put in and how they came in with that type of dog mindset has definitely paid off to have success this year and to continue to have success in the future.
All right, we've got time, I think, for two more. Any other questions? Okay, all the way back in the back, please, on the left.
Dom Taberry, WBNS. You guys are underdogs in this game. Have you embraced the underdog role, and do you understand the history of being an underdog for Ohio State in games like 2002, 2014?
Coach, start with you, please.
I don't know if we've talked as much about that. It's just the opportunity in front of us, Dom, and responding and practicing and prepping. We just had a question about Marvin Emeka and CJ. Those are hands down maybe two of the best practice players on our team. And when guys practice and prep, and so to me, I have a lot of respect for, it's a prideful group, a prideful program. No matter what the underdog or spreads or all that stuff is, I guess, Dom, but I think our guys just take a lot of pride in chasing greatness and the way we prepped and prepared, and I think our guys are looking forward to the opportunity and challenge that Saturday presents. And I just enjoy walking on the field with those guys and the way they go about their business to give ourselves a chance to have success. It's a great group to practice with.
All right, CJ, thoughts on being the underdog?
It's football, so you got to go play football. I don't really think I haven't really put no thought to it. Like at the end of the day, I feel like we still Ohio State, we still the Buckeyes. So Georgia's Georgia for a reason. So I definitely think that. Even talking to some of those dudes that I know on their team, it's been respect. I don't think that. I wouldn't say that I feel like an underdog. I don't feel like. I do feel like people are counting us out, but that's fine. We've been counted out plenty of times. I'm pretty sure. People have counted Emeka out in his life, and people have counted Coach Wilson out in his life, and people have counted me out. This isn't nothing new. I definitely think this is the path that God wanted us on, and I'm just rocking with that. So if that means that we the underdog, I'm cool with it. It's time to just mask up and go play football.
All right, I'm close it out with Emeka.
You can look at the rankings and see that we're number 4, and look in the past and see what the past number 4 Ohio State team did. But at the end of the day, Georgia's a phenomenal team. They're 12-0. It's hard to go undefeated on a season, and they're the number 1 ranked team right now. But I can't speak for everyone. But for me personally, I don't feel like underdogs. There's never been a time where I stepped on the field and I felt a severe disadvantage to the player across from me. I haven't played Georgia yet. But I feel like with the confidence that we have as a team and our ability, like CJ said, we've been counted out before, so it's not nothing new to us. So we're just going to go out there on Saturday and play football like how we know how to play football.